And so it continues. I'll let you guys in on something. There used to be another forms of the Sonic Comic Reviews where it actually involved Eggman winning, but in the end it turned out to be meh. Shame that it's not on here because I really would have torn in a new one. But anyways, I think I can work with this. Without further ado, let's continue. Again.
Well, the votes are in, I tallied them all up, and it turns out the winner of the Sonic Universe arc that I will be reviewing is...
Okay.
the Mobius 30 Years Later story arc.
This is a possible future type of story.
This was the one that people asked for the most. I thought at first it was going to be Treasure Team Tango, since a lot of people like that arc too. But 30 Years Later won, so here we go.
Okay.
First of all, thanks to everyone who voted. I really appreciated it. Now, without wasting any more time, let's dive right in. I am Sonic Comic World, and here is my review of Sonic Universe issue number 5. Now, of course, most of us already know about the first arc that featured an X years later story arc,
not me.
which were issues 131 through 144, written by Ken Penders. And then when Ian Flynn took over as head writer for the comics, he wrote 2 issues that continue the story, seeing as how issue 144 ended on a huge cliffhanger. But I'm not here to review those issues.
You mean hanger, not hair.
Yet. I'm here to review the 3rd installment.
Sadly, that never happens.
Now entitled 30 Years Later. So let's take a look. Well, the cover seems promising enough. It shows quite a few characters on it that we should expect to see, including what looks to be the return of Sonic and Sally's kids. Yeah, I can tell Laura Sue is very happy about that. So we begin with some cat named Sasha. Resemblance at all? As she delivers a news report on what people are calling the 5 years of peace. Yeah, well, it's been a while since the last X years later story, so they might as well try and explain what happened before.
Sure.
So she begins by saying that the world was both rescued and then conquered in 1 year by Shadow the Hedgehog.
Shadow?
And when Shadow became king, there was peace in the world, but it also came with strict rule and harsh punishment. So to try and tone down Shadow's harsh ways, Queen Sally ended up marrying him.
What?
Shadow and Sally.
This joke.
Yeah, I think that expression sums up that couple perfectly. Also, what are they exactly implying here? Are they saying that Shadow was already king before he married Sally? How is that even possible when Shadow is not even part of a royal family?
Well, he is the ultimate life form.
When Sonic suddenly disappeared, did Shadow just say, "Okay, I'm king now. Anyone got a problem with that?"
What?
Yeah? Well, guess what? I don't care about your opinion, so fuck you.
Wow.
Well, I guess if Nakas could do it, Shadow could do it as well. So after Shadow and Sally got married... God, I can't believe I just said that. The world capital was moved to Angel Island, and while Sally continued to help her people, Shadow continued to be a complete asshole. But then
that's what happens when you have, I don't know, power and corruption and all. Being prideful would do that to you.
They were able to defeat Shadow, and Sonic took over as the new king. And now 5 years later, everyone is going to be celebrating the anniversary of Sonic's success and Mobius's 5 years of peace. We then suddenly cut to the royal family, where we see King Sonic, Queen Sally, and
Sonic doesn't still wear clothes. Okay. I wasn't expecting that.
And yes, as many of you know by now, Sonic and Sally's
Amy's moved on from Sonic.
For Sonic's brother and sister in the TV
hey, it's
show
a nice
Sonic Underground.
reference.
Why they decided on those names, I don't know, but don't worry, this issue has nothing to do with that. By the way,
hey, at least it's better than Sonic Boom!
Acorn. Does this mean that when Sonic and Sally got married, they took Sally's name instead of Sonic's? Not that I'm complaining or anything, it's just that you don't see that a lot these days, do you? I guess it's because Sally is actual royalty, so they had to go with Acorn. Or maybe it's because they just didn't want to reveal Sonic's last name. I guess that makes sense, because it would have been kind of weird if Sonia's name card actually said Princess Sonia Hedgehog, when Sonia is not even a...
We get it!
Yeah, you get the idea. So Sonic is a little tense, because he's a little worried about the public speech he has to do tomorrow. But tonight they are taking the night off to relax, which unfortunately doesn't make the kids really happy.
But
It's Or did Manic just turn into Eric Cartman there for a second?
Oh my god! I wasn't expecting that!
It turns out to be Laura Sue, who is here to babysit the kids tonight, much to the children's excitement.
Aww.
Huh. So this is what the Guardian of Angel Island does with her spare time? Babysitting some little kids?
What?
I don't remember that being the job description. I mean, granted, she is watching over the prince and princess, so I guess that's a pretty big deal.
Yes.
But can you imagine if Knuckles was put in charge of babysitting some
Hey, he would actually be good with kids.
Okay, son. Now today, your job is to babysit some little children. Why?
You a stone!
Well, because it is your duty as Guardian. But I thought being a Guardian was protecting the Master Emerald.
That's not a good Knuckles impression.
Think about it. Why do you think we call it Guardian? Ah, crap.
That fate.
So as Sonic and Sally head out, Sally tells Laura Sue to contact them if she needs anything. But Laura Sue tells her that she will be able to handle the Royal Twins just fine.
Oh.
Oops.
Couple hours later. Hey, Sonic X!
So yeah, the kids start running amok, but Laura Sue manages to stop them using her chaos control. She puts them to bed, tells them a lame-ass story, and tells them to shut their traps while she makes a quick phone call to her parents. It turns out Knuckles and Julie Sue are in Missouri, of all places, trying to negotiate with some separatists that are apparently causing trouble down there.
Separatists?
Wait a minute. Missouri? As in the Missouri from Sonic Unleashed?
I think they were going to summon up for
trying to stop some separatists? Wow. And here I was thinking that they were actually nice people. Well, okay, they probably weren't talking about that specific family, but still, this whole backstory of what Knuckles and Julie Sue are doing just seems kind of random. I mean, they just give us a brief explanation of where they are and what they were doing, and then nothing. They never bring it up again or acknowledge them ever again in the story.
A big-lipped alligator moment?
Kind of weird, seeing as how Knuckles played an important role in the other X Years Later stories, but here, he and Julie Sue are just tossed aside like yesterday's leftovers. Oh well. Personally, though, I think that panel was just an excuse to tie in Sonic Unleashed into the comics. Even though at the very beginning of every issue it says, a world beyond what you know from the Sega games. But then again, just last issue, Hope mentions the city of Soliana. Oh, that's just great. Next thing you know, they'll probably introduce...
No!
Oh, God, no!
Wow!
Well, anyway, continuing on, Julie Sue asks how the twins are doing.
Seriously, am I the only one who doesn't see Sonic 06 to be that terrible?
The classic line.
Even if I haven't played it, I can tell why people actually have a problem with it.
I think we all remember using that line at least once in our childhood.
I started it!
Maybe it never worked, though. So Julie Sue goes on to say that she was glad Laura Sue was an only child. Yeah, I gotta say, I quite agree with her on that. I'm an only child myself, and all I can say for that is... So Laura Sue says goodbye to her parents, and she goes to check on the kids, only to find a pillow thrown in her face. So as the kids start running around again, Laura Sue counterattacks with a flying pillow pummel attack. Ugh.
What?
You know, I know this scene is supposed to be cute and all, but I'm actually starting to get a little bored now. Come on, where's the action? Where's the suspense? Where's the drama? Where's the...
Meanwhile...
Oh. Well, okay, this is certainly different. So we suddenly cut to Leanda. Or Linda. Whatever the hell you want to call her.
Linda!
The leader of the Dark Presence. I guess Dark Legion just wasn't intimidating enough. Also, I love how the Dark Presence is now divided into different groups.
Yeah, here it comes.
Like how spies are called the Dark Eyes, and soldiers are called the Dark Hands. What do they call the Dark Feets? Janitors? The Dark Noses are chefs? The Dark Hearts are Care Bear killers?
It's Dark
Why did I bring that up?
Yeah, Dark Heart!
It seems the Dark Presence is keeping an eye on Laura Sue, but Leanda decides to not move in, because she doesn't want to risk the children's safety, seeing as how they are innocent.
She's a sadist!
her main goal is to only strike down the guilty ones, which oddly enough consist of her niece Laura Sue, Knuckles and Julie Sue, and Queen Sally and King Sonic. Wait a minute. What? Okay, so you don't want any harm to come to the children, and yet you still want to try and kill Sonic and Sally. Lady, think about this for a second. If you manage to kill the kids' parents, isn't that kind of causing harm to them in the first place? I mean, those kids will be absolutely devastated with their parents gone. Depriving a kid from his or her parents is probably the most evil thing you could do, and yet you don't want to take the risk of causing the kids pain? Leanda, you really need to get your priorities straight.
Well, she's a sadist! What do you expect?
So we cut to the next morning, where everyone has gathered around the castle for the king's speech. And in this huge crowd, we see the Prower family, consisting of Tails, Mina, or Mina, whatever,
Mina.
and their two kids. Whoa,
Really?
whoa. What? Okay, I don't mean to be rude here, but I'll just come out and ask it. How the ruddy hell did Tails and Mina end up together?
I don't know.
I know it may seem pointless to talk about this, but I'm sorry. This really needs an explanation here. How did these two characters that have had little to no dialogue whatsoever between them and have shared absolutely no interest in each other at all in the comics ended up falling in love, getting married, and having kids?
Hey, it's a
Ever since
possible
this
future.
odd coupling was
Anything can
introduced,
happen.
It's been bugging me like mad. I mean, you expect me to believe that Tails and Mina ended up getting married when they have never even been together once in the main series? That is a lot to buy, guys. I just don't understand this at all. And since there's absolutely no explanation of how these two got together, I'm at a loss for words.
Really?
Yeah, you heard me. There is no explanation
You know, you could have just said
all
you're
on
speechless.
how Tails and Mina became a couple. And I guess we have Ken Penders to thank for that. He was the one that wrote the first Mobius 25 years later story.
From what
and
I can tell, this guy's like a combination of Mr. Enter
But did he
and
explain at all how the two
89.
got together? Of course not. In fact, he hardly mentions it at all. It just comes out of frickin' nowhere in a quick flashback. That's it. No explanation, no additional information. It just appears in one panel and then, boom, never to be brought up again. That is just bad writing at its finest.
Boy.
We just have to immediately assume that Tails and Mina are a couple with absolutely no background information whatsoever. And that is bullshit. And when Ian Flynn became the new writer, I was hoping that at least he would give us some explanation of how Tails and Mina became
Here we
a couple,
go, and
but
he's still going on about
we
this.
still got nothing, zilch, nada. Now, a lot of you might say, just go with it. It's not really that important.
Yeah.
And yes, I can sort of agree with you on that. Because even though this couple makes absolutely no sense, I kind of like it. It's certainly a lot better than the couple of Tails and Fiona, or Mina and Ash. I'm happy that Tails managed to find someone special in his life. All I'm asking is just a simple explanation. Maybe just a 5-page story of how it happened and why. Is
there, you could have just said it like that instead of going on this
I would just feel a lot
going
better
on this
knowing
rant
how these
slightly.
two totally different characters that have hardly anything in common ended up as a future couple. Now, I know that this future of Mobius is technically non-canon with the main story.
Yeah.
Which pretty much means anything can happen.
Indeed.
But with couples like Sonic and Sally and Knuckles and Julie Sue, at least those make sense because we've seen them together before in the main story. For Tails and Mina, though, there is absolutely nothing. I mean, did the creators just decide to pick a random person for Tails to be with in the future?
Hey, Tails was sort of a ladies' guy.
What about Fiona? Nah, she's a bitch.
Hey. Hey, she has
What
Scourge.
about that girl that Tails kept blushing at in the Journey to the East saga? That story hasn't been made yet, dumbass. Oh, right.
He's still going.
What about Nicole? Dude, that's fucked up. Well, who else is there? Mina? Okay, fine, let's go with her then. Won't our readers be a little confused if we put her with Tails?
Oh, screw them. They won't give a crap.
Well, guess what, guys? I do give a crap.
Wow.
Okay. I think I've said enough about that, so let's move on.
Thank you!
Laura Sue comes flying in to greet the Prowers.
We didn't really need that, you know!
Tails and Mina's children, Melody and Sky. Get it? Because Mina sings with a melody and Tails can fly in the sky. Yeah, that's pretty stupid.
Actually, it's fine.
So it seems that Laura Sue is a little nervous today because this is her first big assignment on her own. But Tails reassures her that she will be able to keep everyone safe. But it seems that the Dark Presence has other ideas, as Leanne Duh checks in on 4 teams to see if they are in position.
That's a lot of
Teams
kidness.
A, B, and D are good to go, but it seems Team C is stuck in traffic and will not be able to make it.
Okay.
Why he can't just go up, under, or around
Maybe because
the traffic
there are other cars around him?
Leanne confirms that the mission is still a go. Seriously, though, you're flying above the ground, which means you can move in any fucking direction. Why is there still traffic when you're flying in the air? So it seems that everyone is ready for the big celebration, including King Sonic himself.
Daughter Johnny, Tim, his wife.
Nothing but brats, aren't they? So the royal family steps out to great cheers.
You want to know who's a major brat? Silly Bradley.
Speech. He goes on to say that he respects the people for accepting him as king, how it's because of the people that there is finally peace, how even though they all have differences, we still are all special on the inside, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada.
Hey, it's important. That is loud.
So while that boring speech is going on, Laura Sue suddenly spots 2 echidnas on a rooftop with a rocket launcher at the ready. She quickly disposes of them both, only to realize that the launcher wasn't even armed. It was just a decoy. Nothing but a phony.
A big fat phony!
I get it.
It turns out that Leanne Duh had the armed launcher all this time as she fires it at the royal family. Okay, now, wait a minute here.
What?
Leanne Duh said just yesterday that she didn't want to risk the deaths of Manic and Sonia because they were innocent. And yet today she's firing a frickin' rocket at them with no hesitation on the children at all.
Why
the hell did she suddenly change her mind all of a sudden? Did she just think, well, if I'm gonna kill the parents, I might as well kill the kids too? After all, I'm evil enough to do something like that,
She's a sadist!
It just seems like a weird change of tone if you ask me. So the rocket heads right at the royal family, and because Laura Sue was distracted earlier, she is too late to stop it.
Here it comes.
Just before the missile makes its mark, it suddenly gets trapped in a green snot bubble and explodes inside of it. It seems someone did manage to save the royal family from death. But if it wasn't Laura Sue who did it, then who?
Silver! Yeah! His name is my dream of an afternoon. Yeah!
Oh, look, it's Silver! Cool!
Yeah!
Nice! Great!
Oh, great. Here it comes.
Right.
He's one of those people.
Whoopee.
We get it.
Yeah.
You don't like Silver.
Awesome.
Ugh.
Sweet.
You know what? I'm just gonna...
And that ends the first issue of the Mobius 30 Years Later story arc. Is it a good beginning? Well, I have to be honest. When I first read this issue, I thought it was great. But looking at it now, it does have a few flaws. Probably the biggest flaw is that it's just, well, boring. There isn't a lot of action, suspense, or drama. Most of the issue is just people talking, and more people talking, and more people talking.
What?
Kind of like Star Wars Episode 2. Nothing really exciting happens throughout the entire thing, and it only starts to pick up near the end. There are some other flaws that I have with this issue, but since they continue on in the next couple of issues as well, I'll talk about them at the end. But I wouldn't call this issue bad exactly. It was nice to see quite a few of our favorite characters in the future again, even if some only had a small cameo.
Yeah.
And even though the story began a little slow, it certainly got interesting near the end, and it ended on a pretty decent cliffhanger. The colors were bright and colorful for our heroes, and dark and eerie for our villains. And the pencil work by Tracy
Isn't that the point?
is always nice to look at. Overall, I give this issue a 7 out of 10. Not terrible, but nothing really spectacular. It just began the story a little too slowly, which to me means they probably wanted to save all the dramatic and action stuff for the later issues.
Okay,
and
let's...
did they succeed? Well, find out next time when I take a look at Sonic Universe issue number 6.
Okay.
So until next time, this has been...
Okay, that was funny. Oh.
One down, 3 to go. Even though the first issue of the Mobius 30 Years Later story
he doesn't continue this.
It was still a little boring at times. So let's see if the next issue will be any better. So let's check it out. This is Sonic Comic World, and here's my review
hey, nice
of
new
Sonic
picture.
Universe issue number 6. Well, judging by the front cover, I say we are in for some real greatness. I mean, look at this. Doesn't this just scream epic?
Nah, not really.
The only character they show, symbolizing that this issue was going to be all about him. How he just sits on the throne like that, symbolizing that there is going to be a lot of suspense in this issue. How he waves to an off-screen audience, symbolizing that...
Okay, we get it.
Never mind, this cover sucks ass. So the title for this part of the story is called Dark Siege, and it begins with Sonic and Sally heading back downstairs after putting the kids to bed, and Silver is down there waiting.
Yay, Silver!
Oh great, another scene of people talking.
What?
Yeah,
it's supposed to be important. It's literally supposed to be important to the plot, right?
Sonic and Sally telling Silver that even though there has been mostly peace in the past 5 years, the Dark Presence is still causing some trouble here and there. So aside from the Dark Presence trying to overthrow the King and Queen, things have been pretty peaceful. Yeah, that makes sense. But Silver is concerned because he reveals that something happened in this point of time that will end up destroying his time. Ugh.
Aww.
I hate time travel stories. They always make things so much more complicated. Can't Silver just live in the same time as Sonic and his friends? His future is already a piece of crap, so why even live there? It will certainly make things a lot easier and simpler. But I digress.
I feel pretty bad
Sally
for Silver. I mean, seriously, he is treated poorly.
Silver thinks it's because of the way he attacked Sonic before. Oh, good job, Silver. You just had to bring that up, didn't you? But Sonic calms them both down,
what? He's
saying
naive.
that trying to make the past and present sync
you can't really blame
is
him.
sometimes more trouble than it's worth. Sonic should know this, seeing as how he has time traveled himself before. Silver is curious on how Sonic managed to time travel before, but Sonic says he doesn't want to talk about it. Oh, believe me, Sonic. After all this shit you went through, I doubt anyone would want to talk about it again. Well,
of course he would bring that up.
But Silver is confident that the disaster that happened at this specific time probably has to do with the Dark Presence. Sally is not really convinced, but Sonic mentions Leanda and how when he took over, Leanda suddenly disappeared and left her family behind. And speaking of her family, we suddenly cut to outside Leanda's house where Laura Sue is having a little chat with Leanda's son, Rutan.
Oh.
You know, I wonder who Rutan's father could be.
Oh.
Well, it looks like the tips of his dreadlocks are white. So could that mean that...
No, I don't think so.
So Laura Sue is not really happy with her cousin at the moment, as she's convinced that Rutan is hiding Leanda from her. But Rutan doesn't confirm this, which causes the pair of them to start arguing. But then suddenly Dimitri comes in to break up the fight. Oh, for crying out loud, this guy still isn't dead yet? You know, for a guy who has lived hundreds of years, you'd think he'd be tired of living by now, don't you think?
Wow.
I mean, he's
got
nothing
a
but
lot
a
of
robotic
wisdom.
head in a bubble now. How do you even call that living? Also, am I the only one that finds it a little put off that Dimitri used to be one of Knuckles' most hated enemies, and nowadays he's actually made peace with Knuckles, and even here in the future he acts as peacemaker?
Yes.
Kind of misleading when a guy who spent most of his life fighting against his own kind is now trying to say that it's wrong. I don't know. But I guess they just decided to make Dr. Finitivus Knuckles' main villain now instead of Dimitri.
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense. I mean, when has there ever been a villain who was still intimidating even when he or she was just a head?
That?
Yeah, that's what I thought. So after Rutan tells his great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather to
That's one of
piss
the
off,
greats.
give or take a few grates, Dimitri has a little talk with
I thought he
Laura
said grapes
It
for a
seems Laura
second.
Sue is a bit bummed out because she feels like she failed in her first mission on her own. But Dimitri gives her some comforting words of how even when the odds are stacked against her, she still manages to have the power to face those odds. What is up with Laura Sue's face here? Doesn't it look a little, weird? I mean, is she smirking? Is she sighing? Is she coughing? Did she just fart? What the hell was up with that facial expression? Oh well, never mind. Cut back to Castle Mobius, where Silver suggests that they should call upon the Freedom Fighters. Only to find out that the Freedom Fighters disbanded years ago because Sally convinced them to stand down after Shadow brought his so-called peace to the world.
Oh.
This makes Silver... Oh my god, get this. This makes Silver wonder if it was actually Sally who was the traitor of the Freedom Fighters that he's been looking for. Oh, for the love of...
Silver's
you
naive.
really got some nerve there, Silver. First you accuse Sonic of being the traitor, then later you think it's Rotor, and here you actually think it's Sally?
Okay, hold on. I know people will honestly have a problem with Silver. They say that he's a really bad character and all, but I disagree with that. I find Silver to be an interesting character, and also I'm pointing this out. The reason why he accuses things is because he's basically living in a future that is terrible. And of course, he doesn't know who to believe, who to turn to, and he doesn't know if they're friends or foes. It really depends on their actions, how he sees them, and how they basically talk to him. And the cherry on top, he's naive. So pretty much cut the guy a break, will ya? All he needs is a hug. I mean, seriously, this poor guy needs a hug.
Why would you even think that Sally would be the traitor? She was the fucking leader of the group, for crying out loud. I ask this now. Is there any shred of evidence that Sally might actually be the traitor? I mean, come on. That's just stupid. There is no way in hell that Sally is the...
See?
Aw, crap. But anyway, going back to this traitor thing, if Silver is so intent on finding out who the traitor of the Freedom Fighters is, why doesn't he just ask Sonic and Sally right here? I mean, it's 30 years in the future. Surely the traitor would have revealed himself or herself by now, right?
Yeah.
Silver can just easily ask them about it, they will tell him who it is, and Silver can go back in time to the point where the traitor was revealed and stop him or her. It's simple. But no, we still have to keep it a mystery for the time being.
Yes.
But, again, looking at what's happening now... Oh, this does not look good.
I see what they did there.
Continuing on, Silver asks if there is anyone else that could call for help. Sonic mentions the Prowers and how they should be able to count on them if something goes wrong. And how are the Prowers doing exactly? Well, not too good at the moment, as Tails opens up the door to their room only to be suddenly knocked out with some green gas. I've already made a farting joke in this review, so let's just continue on. But Mina, along with her two kids, manages to escape. So now would be a good idea to try and find some help, right? Wrong.
She's fast.
Instead, Mina abandons her children
on
the
she just had to get them somewhere safe.
In the middle of the night and rushes back inside to try and save Tails. Lady, your husband was only knocked out, which means he's still okay. So your main focus now should be on the safety of your kids. For if you just go rushing back in there, you're only going to get yourself, and I rest my case. Mother of the Year or complete moron? Yeah, complete moron. So after the Prowers get captured, we cut to outside the castle where we see Laura Sue making her way towards it, wondering if her father ever had a bad temper like she does now. Well, not to sound rude or anything, but...
Duh!
Yeah.
Oh, I love that part.
Knuckles is a hothead. What you expect?
Oh, Patrick, you're so funny.
That face.
But I mean, come on. Seriously? She is just wondering this now? You don't know much about your father's past, do you, Laura Sue? But then suddenly, Laura Sue spots some Dark Presence soldiers making their way toward the castle as well. And rather than knock the living hell out of them, she decides to use some of Uncle Espio's training instead. Back inside the castle, we see... My God, are you guys still talking? Jesus,
What?
this is getting
It's
old.
important to the plot.
So Sally is still a little concerned about this end of the world thing, but don't worry, Sal. We all know it's complete bullshit. But anyway,
Yeah.
before Silver can give any more information, an echidna maid walks in to offer them any refreshments, but they both decline, with Sonic saying that he can't do chili dogs every hour at his age anymore. Why do I get the feeling that when Sonic finally dies, he's going to die on the crapper after eating too many chili dogs? But anyway, the maid suddenly notices Silver,
humor.
and she commends him for his bravery and amazing powers. But it's all good, because the maid suddenly takes out a pistol and knocks out Silver as well. Thank you, Silver. You were entirely pointless.
He was not.
So after Sonic pins the maid to the wall, it is here we find out that the echidna was a spy the whole time. What a shock. But here's a strange gimmick. It seems that she was spying on the royal family for about 2 years. Wow. She was working for King Sonic and Queen Sally for 2 years, and yet she never did anything to them? You know, for a terrorist group who wants to kill the king and queen, they don't do a really good job of doing it. I mean, they could have easily used the spy
at least
for
they're
anything.
not like the.
She could have just walked into the king and queen's bedroom in the middle of the night and easily killed them in their sleep. Boom! Leanda gets her revenge, and they move on to the next part of the plan.
I don't know. At least these guys are not like the ones from the Knights
after
comic.
Sonic knocks out the Dark Presence spy as well, he quickly comes up with a plan.
Poor
He tells Sally
Silver.
to take Sleeping Beauty here and the kids and lock themselves in the panic room while he will hold off the Dark Presence. But Sally does not approve of this plan, as she claims to have never been taken as a damsel in distress. I don't know, Sally. I mean, granted, you can take care of yourself just fine, but you have managed to get yourself captured sometimes in the past as well. But at least you're not as bad as some other princesses I know.
Hey, at least Zelda was trying
Sonic
to help at some
retaliates, saying that
points.
the Dark Presents are gunning for him, which should give Sally the chance of taking their kids to safety.
Okay.
Oh, I get it. So that giant rocket was actually aiming at Sonic the whole time, huh? And if it had exploded at Sonic, the blast radius would have caused absolutely no harm to Sally and the kids, even though they were standing right next to him. Oh yeah, that makes sense. But Sally still does not really approve of this idea, and soon the two start arguing. And it goes back and forth, and back and forth, and back and forth.
Back, forth, back, forth.
What?
Back, forth, back, forth, back.
Okay.
Whoa! Okay, that came totally out of nowhere, but I'll take it.
This is showing that they care about
And
each
as
other.
Sonic
That's
goes running
what.
off to handle the Dark Presence, he says probably one of the most epic lines in the entire comic book series. Sonic the Hedgehog, winning arguments for married men the world over.
Okay. I don't get it.
I swear, that line is just plain awesome. Sonic the Hedgehog, you are an inspiration for married men everywhere. Chalk one up for men winning at arguments. All right.
Really?
Just you wait, women. We are gonna catch up to you sooner or later. And once we do, you're gonna be sorry.
That's not funny.
Well, anyway, after Sonic goes rushing off to take care of the Dark Presence, he realizes that Laura Sue has beaten him to it. But their victory is cut short as they soon notice that the security system in the castle has been turned against them.
Oh.
With nowhere else to go and the castle being in total lockdown, the duo has no choice but to escape the castle while they can. So as they smash through the window, Sonic says one of his classic lines, "Let's do it to it." But Laura Sue thinks the line is kinda corny, so instead Sonic tries "Hasta la vista, mister." Oh, I can just hear Schwarzenegger rolling over in his grave. But
Hasta la
honestly, why
vista,
doesn't Sonic
mister.
say, "Let's juice," or "It's juice time"?
No.
I mean, he used to say that line all the time back then.
Gotta juice,
Why doesn't
kid.
he say it anymore?
This.
Oh. Whoops. Never mind.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, Laura Sue and Sonic suddenly come across Melody and Sky, who relays the information that their mom and dad were attacked by the Dark Presence, and that they tried to find help, but they couldn't find anyone. This freaks out Laura Sue as she's worried on how they are going to take the castle back when the Dark Presence has it completely locked in and with no other help nearby. But Sonic tells everyone to shut the hell up as he tells Melody and Sky that he will make sure nothing happens to them, and he also tells Laura Sue to get a grip on herself. So Sonic suggests finding a safe place where they can fall back to, and Laura Sue suggests Argyle's place. Argyle is apparently Vector's son and a good friend of Laura Sue. Nice try, Laura Sue, but you're not fooling anybody. Also, am I the only one who would like to know who Argyle's mother is? I mean, we've seen Vector trying to make it with the Lays before, and... Yeah, he wasn't too good at it. So I'm just curious of which woman that Vector actually managed to fall in love with. So as the game heads off, we get to Castle Mobius, where Leanda is basking in the glory of her takeover of the castle. Would you look at that? I always thought Kane Max was a bit stoned. So the Dark Presence reports to Leanda that the prowess have been secured, all castle staff have been confined to their rooms, and the security system is now theirs. They also report that the Queen and the kids have locked themselves in the panic room, and the King and the Guardian managed to escape. But Leanda is not worried, for by the time that Sonic and Laura Sue come up with a plan to strike back, their mission will already be complete. And what is that mission, you might ask? Well, as Leanda continues to babble on things that are not important, we see them heading down to what I assume is the catacombs, as they come across a strange room with an odd-looking
this seems
capsule.
familiar.
Gee, I wonder where this is going.
Yeah.
So after using a chaos siphon on the capsule, it suddenly opens up, and Leanda bows down to welcome the person inside of it.
Here it comes.
And just who was inside the capsule all this time?
Here it Oh, come on! Mr. Edward himself.
Aw, yeah, King Shadow is back. All hail the king, baby.
Only he earns that.
Wait, no, not that king.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. So that was the second issue of the Mobius 30 Years Later story arc. Is it better than the last issue? Well, it's a little better, but it's still nothing really spectacular. At least there were a lot more things going on in this issue, though.
Yeah.
It still had moments where it just had people talking, but at least there wasn't as much of it as last time, and there were a lot more exciting moments as well, mostly consisting of the Dark Presence and their plans to take over Castle Mobius. In fact, the whole issue is basically seeing the Dark Presence going through with their plan. Kidnapping the Prowers, taking over the castle, freeing Shadow. The Dark Presence was really the only group that accomplished anything in this issue. In fact, why couldn't they make the front cover about them? It would certainly be a lot more interesting than Sonic sitting on the throne. He doesn't even sit on a throne in this issue anyway! But regardless, it was still a pretty good issue. The story began to get more interesting, it ended on another decent cliffhanger, and the drawings and the colors were as good as always.
Shame we don't get more of this.
I also give this issue a 7 out of 10. Even though the story is a little bit more involving in this issue, it still falls a little short of being better than issue 5. But now, with the return of Shadow, things should start to get a lot more interesting, right? Well, one can only hope. So tune in next time when I review issue number 7 to find out.
Again,
so
we don't see any more of that.
This has been Sonic Comic World. Thank you all for watching, and keep on Oh, wait. Maybe I shouldn't say that anymore because, well, you know. Okay, let's try this. This has been Sonic Comic World. Thank you all for watching, and hasta la vista, mister.
Okay, that's better.
Wow, that was lame.
Well, it's Sonic with respect. Love that clip. Anyways, I'll see you all in the final parts, which is Sonic X. See y'all later.